Alexander checked the address on his data pad for the third time before finally pressing the buzzer. The apartment complex on Kepler 442 station wasn't impressive, but it was exactly what a newly arrived human engineer from Earth could afford. The listing had been deliberately vague, mentioning only that 2 professionals were looking for a third roommate. The door slid open with a quiet hiss. 2 beings stood there, neither of them human. "You must be Alexander," said the taller one. Her skin shimmered with shifting bioluminescent patterns, like deep-sea creatures from Earth's oceans. Her voice carried a gentle musical tone, flawlessly translated into English. "I am Zixth." She gestured to the second figure beside her. "This is my sister, Valora." Valora was slightly smaller, her crystalline body refracting light into soft rainbow patterns that danced across the walls. Both wore station-standard casual clothing, tailored to suit their very non-human anatomies. Alexander swallowed his shock. He knew the galaxy was diverse, he'd studied it, but knowing something academically was very different from meeting it at your front door. "Nice to meet you," he said, extending his hand. Zixth stared at it for a moment before gently grasping it. Her skin felt cool and smooth, like polished stone. "Fascinating," she murmured. "The human bonding ritual." "It's just a handshake," Alexander said with a nervous laugh. Valora's crystalline eyes brightened. "Nothing your species does is ever just anything. Every behavior carries meaning." They showed him around the apartment, a modest 3-bedroom unit with a shared living space and compact kitchen. Alexander's room was simple but functional, with a window overlooking the station's central garden dome. "The rent is divided equally," Zixth explained. "We alternate cooking duties, though our dietary needs differ significantly from yours. We've reserved a cooling unit section for your perishables." "We've never lived with a human before," Valora added, her tone tinged with curiosity. "Your species is still relatively new to interstellar society. We have many questions." Alexander moved in that same evening. Over the next few weeks, he realized living with 2 Aquelan sisters was nothing like he expected. They were obsessively clean, spending hours ensuring every surface sparkled. They found his human habit of sleeping 8 hours straight both wasteful and endlessly fascinating, as they only required brief meditation cycles. But it was the small moments that surprised him most. One morning, Alexander wandered into the kitchen to find Zixth staring intently at his coffee machine, her scales flickering with visible confusion. "How does this device not harm you?" she asked seriously. "The liquid reaches near boiling temperatures. Your species has fragile external tissue." Alexander laughed as he poured himself a cup. "We like it hot. Want to try?" "Absolutely not," Zixth replied immediately, though her eyes followed every sip with scientific fascination. The real challenge came 3 weeks later. Alexander caught a severe flu from another human on the station. He brushed it off at first, insisting he only needed rest. By the second day, his fever spiked, and he struggled even to leave his bed. He woke to find both sisters standing beside him. "Your core temperature has increased by 2.3 degrees, Valora said, her crystalline hand hovering just above his forehead. "According to human medical databases, this is dangerous." "I'll be fine," Alexander croaked. "It's just the flu." Zixth's scales flashed red, distress. "You keep saying that word. Just. Nothing about suffering is insignificant." They refused to leave. Valora used her natural cooling ability to help stabilize his temperature. Zixth prepared a nutrient broth that tasted nothing like human food but was perfectly balanced for his condition. They took shifts watching over him, consulting medical texts, and even arguing with the station's human physician about treatment protocols. "Human doctors are far too relaxed about fevers," Zixth complained after one heated call. "If an Aquelan's temperature rose like this, it would be considered a critical emergency." "Different species, different tolerances," Alexander said weakly, though he was deeply moved. On the 4th day, his fever finally broke. When he woke, he found both sisters asleep in chairs they dragged into his room, positioned protectively around his bed. Warmth filled his chest, unrelated to illness. After his recovery, something changed. Valora began teaching him Aquelan music, frequencies barely audible to human ears but strangely calming. Zix started joining him for morning coffee, sipping her nutrient solution while they talked about station politics, science, and the nature of consciousness. The apartment felt less like shared housing and more like a home. One evening, as they sat together in the common area, Valora spoke quietly. "We told our family about you." Alexander stiffened slightly. "And?" "They were skeptical," Zix said bluntly. "Humans have a reputation." "Volatile," Valora added. "Dangerous," Zix continued. "Emotionally unpredictable." Alexander's stomach sank. The sisters exchanged a look, their silent communication passing between them. "Now," Valora said gently, "we tell them humans are dangerous because they make you care about them." Zixta's scales rippled with colors Alexander recognized as contentment. "You disrupt our logic. With your coffee rituals. Your terrible sleep schedules. Your insistence that friendship is just friendship when it is clearly much more. You remind us," Valora said, "that sometimes the most alien thing isn't appearance or biology. It's realizing how much we share when we take the time to look." Alexander smiled, lifting his coffee mug. "To weird roommates." "To family," Valora corrected. Zixt nodded. As the station lights dimmed for the night cycle, Alexander reflected on why he'd come to space. He'd been searching for opportunity, advancement, something new. Instead, he'd found something far more valuable. Proof that home wasn't defined by planets or species, but by those who stayed awake to watch over your fever, argued with doctors on your behalf, and insisted that nothing you did was ever insignificant. Not even a handshake.